when you're training for a fight, what does a typical training routine look like for you? I mean, walk us through a typical day you get ready for a fight.
Well, routine is the most important thing. You want to try to keep it consistent, stay the same. I like to sleep in a little bit. I don't wake up at 6 in the morning and go for a run. I know some fighters like to. I like to sleep in till about 9. I'll do my cardio before anything else to make sure my weight's nice and low. When I get done with my cardio, I'll do some steel-cut oatmeal, whole grain oatmeal, and a protein drink.
When you say cardio, what are we looking at?
Either short jogs, jumping rope, plyometrics, box jumps, anything that gets your heart rate up, because most of us, unless we're heavyweights, need to cut to make weight. So I wake up and I always do a form of cardio. I don't always need to run. It can be swimming, jumping rope, anything. Guys, when you train for so many years, you get bored. The best form of exercise you can do, the best thing for you is the one you're gonna do. It's that simple. So if you're gonna switch it up, if one day my knees hurt and I'm sick of running or I can't jump rope, then I'll swim. Anything that raises your heart rate for 20 minutes or more.
Real quick, as far as running is concerned, what do you think is enough? I know some people do 5, 10K.
You know, everyone's different.
Thais love that, don't they?
They run a lot. It really depends on your fitness level, what your body's used to. Everyone's different. For me personally, and this is just my opinion and for my body, and this is years of practicing, which you guys will have to do the same with your own bodies, I like about a 3K run. It's nothing hard, it's nothing strenuous. I'm not trying to do 5-minute miles. I get out there and I get a sweat. Why? Because I don't want the majority of my energy going into running. I want the majority of my energy going into kickboxing, going into clinching, going into jiu-jitsu, going into MMA training. So I lift weights 3 days a week. I don't lift weights, I don't lift super heavy. If I do go a little heavy, it's immediately followed by fast twitch, explosive movements, so I don't get tight. I don't want to have that bodybuilder physique. Again, the majority of my energy, the majority of my power goes into training. Muay Thai, you know, wrestling, jiu-jitsu.
How much weight do you put for the fight?
Pardon me?
How much weight do you put?
I pride myself on staying in shape year-round. I usually stay about 170 pounds, and so I'm usually cutting. By the time I'm already 6 weeks into a fight camp, I'm about 164, and then I'm cutting about 8 or 9 pounds to make 55. What's that?
Do you dehydrate?
I do dehydrate. I do. You get it down to a science. I recommend, first off, diet and exercise. Nothing replaces that. Cut out the sodium. As you get about 3 or 4 days from weigh-in, do you guys have distilled water? No sodium, right? Distilled water. Everyone knows what that is? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Distilled water. I'll drink distilled water for about 48 hours leading up. The point of distilled water, there's no sodium. There's nothing retaining any fluids. Once I cut, I make weight. I immediately drinking water. Right after that, I'm able to rehydrate, get my electrolytes in, and then eat. And I'm usually, fight night, if I make 155, I'm usually the night of the fight about 164, 165. So, guys, it's a lifestyle, you know? I don't believe in dieting. I love the sport. I'm not someone who likes to hurt people. I've never been that way. I love to compete. That's what I love to do. I want to win any way that I can within the rules of MMA, and it's what I live for. So that's the way I live my life. Sometimes, you know, people go, why don't you go out drinking? Oh, you're boring. Well, sometimes boring is the next day.
Don't be boring Saturday.
Sometimes boring is the next day. You can't train. You feel like crap. You're like, why did I do that? So I get my rest. You know, I stay hydrated, I eat well, and you gotta have balance. When I need to blow off some steam, I'll call Ray up on Saturday maybe, because I am in Thailand, and we'll blow off a little steam because there has to be balance. The scariest fighter, this goes for anybody, is a happy one. Not one who's pissed off about their childhood or pissed off at somebody else who kicked their ass or whatever. If you're happy training, you love your training partners, you love the lifestyle. I love training with Ray. I can't wait to work out today. I can't wait to learn something new. That's the scariest fighter. That's when you're going to be at your best, and that's what I believe.
You're at a big point in your career right now. You're 3-1. Obviously, 3-1 is an important point in a fighter's career. Your next fight, Lord forbid, it doesn't go your way, you turn 3-2, that is a difficult road. 4-1 is a very, very, very good road. Your last fight was against Preston. Those of you guys that aren't familiar with Southern California, Preston Sharf's very, very, very good up-and-comer who's already a veteran of the sport. Like so many of us, started maybe a little bit too early in his career fighting professionally, but now he's really hitting his stride. So, have you had an opportunity to look back at the fight that you lost? Have you had an opportunity to kind of reflect on it? And what are your thoughts going forward now?
Absolutely. You know, you always learn a lot more from a loss than a win. The thing about Preston, who's an absolute class act, is he's actually got over 20 fights. They're not all on SureDog. I've become friends with him afterwards. Like I said, fighting isn't angry or personal for me. He didn't beat me in any one aspect except for wrestling, but his experience did. And what I took away from that fight was, one, I need to work on my stand-up, plain and simple. Preston Sharf, that fight is the reason that I'm in Thailand, is the reason that I'm training Muay Thai with world-class trainers, is the reason why I'm here completely rededicated and focused to become a mixed martial artist and not just a grappler. You learn a lot about yourself. You're getting picked up, you're getting slammed, the crowd's going, ooh, and you know, do you fold? Or do you have that mental fortitude to keep going? And you know, I was able to come back, win the second, and then I lost the third. I owe Preston a lot. Regardless of what happens in the rest of my career, that was the point where, okay, I know I can take a punch. I know I can go all three hard 5-minute rounds. And is this something I really want to do? Because it's not fun to lose. We all love being on top.
Man, repeat that one more time.
It's not fun to lose. The harder you guys train in the gym, the easier the fight's gonna be. There's pictures of my face in that weird motion where all the lines are in your face, and all you see is Preston's fist against my jaw. I learned I could take a punch. You can't teach someone how to take a punch. Either you do or you don't. I learned I can get picked up, slammed, and you know what? In a really heartfelt, close loss, I might add, I still had fun. I love to compete. I made a friend out of it. And again, I wanted to better myself. And the last question is, if I were to win, hey, that's great, my next fight. If I'm to lose, then I'll see where I'm at. I plan on still fighting for the next few years. I'm a young 33, I take care of myself. And unless there's any serious injuries, I love to compete. So that's why I'm here and that's what I'm gonna do. But I also love to teach. I hope you guys were able to feel that. And again, it's really important to me. Maybe you're not gonna remember my name. Maybe, you know, that's okay. I'm not insulted by that. What I do hope is that you remember how to do a rear naked choke, a triangle, and you remember how to get the back, you know.
One of the things I just want to emphasize real quick, guys, is one of the big things that makes a difference between an amateur and a professional is professionals are always going back and critiquing prior performances, okay? As terrible as it was when I lost my Ultimate Fighter to get into the house, I didn't just take that DVD and throw that DVD away and forget about it. Part of being a professional is understanding that it is your job and going back and looking at performances that were less than what we wanted and finding out how we can improve on that. And as you see Steve said point blank, that's what got him here to Thailand. So more so why I was asking that question was to set up the idea of the fact that as you're going along in your career, you need to set short-term and long-term goals, and you need to go back and you need to look at your performances and reevaluate what you need to do to achieve those goals. And obviously that's something that Steve has a great grasp on. Becoming a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt was one step in that goal, you know? And so let's put our hands together. Let's thank Steve today.